am a pastor, an artist, an author, a scholar, and a conversation. Welcome to Chatfest with Kenneth. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Chatfest with Kenneth. For this episode, I'm going to be remembering my very good friend who passed on June 3rd of June 3rd, 2023. His name was Peter Obadoni, Rockstone, aka Rockstone. I guess it just took me this long. Now it's October. It took me this long to just get my thoughts together and how I want to remember and celebrate his memory. In making this video, for it to really be true, I would have to be authentic and kind of a little uncensored with it. But hey, it's not about the comfort of people, but it's about acknowledging and celebrating his memory. So here goes. I knew Peter through his brother Valentine. Valentine is his older brother, and I used to in the late 80s. I used to go to their home in Benin City on Adesua Road to have these philosophical debates and conversations with Valentine. Valentine was like, I guess I just loved. I was in my late teens then, but I was very philosophical. I would love to debate and just talk about esoteric topics of life and all. And so Valentine was someone I used to go hang out with. And yes, used to smoke weed. Let me just say it. Yeah, I used to go there, we'll smoke weed and just talk. Of course, when we're all lit, we would have all these intellectual conversations and analyze and dissect. It's amazing that I'm a psychologist now. I guess I've always been heading towards that trajectory. Anyhow, so that was my getting acquainted. That's how I got acquainted with the Obadonis. And then Peter became my friend. And I think by 1993 was when Peter was like became my best friend. I literally every day I was at their place. I was always hanging with Peter and Keith, who he's late now. Me, Peter, Keith, and yes, we'll just get lit and hang out and chit chat and talk. It was fun, good old days. And then in 1994, I kind of rededicated my life back to Christ. I decided to become more of a committed Christian, more of a committed born again Christian. And so that kind of took a toll on our friendship. I was no longer going to hang out there because I was going there to smoke weed, and now I'm a Christian, born again Christian, and I would just go to church. I was singing in Faith Arena, Church of God Mission. I was singing the choir in the praise team, and I remember there was he actually made a comment once that Idahosa had snatched me from him. And I was like, "What do you mean?" He said, uh, "We used to be tight, and now I've joined Idahosa's church, and they have snatched me from him." And that was like a running joke that we had. So fast forward to me coming to America, coming back to America. I came in '96, and I remember um, when I got here. Basically, I didn't know anybody, so my only social bonds that I had was letter writing, snail mail letter writing. And so I remember I would write him letters and just reminisce about our friendship. And he would write me back. He stayed constantly responding back to my letters. I would write, he would write, I would write, he would write. Back then, there was no cell phone, or at least I didn't have. No, there was no cell phone in '96, um, and so kind of we rekindled our friendship through letter writing. The issue of weed smoking was a non-issue because I'm over here, he's over there. And it wasn't like we're going to be talking about writing about weed smoking. So we just focused on just being friends. And and then when cell phone era came in, we would talk on the phone and stay in touch. S- I got married, and I it made me frequent Nigeria more often than I usually had. And I would see him. We would hang out, and not as much because when you're married, wife takes precedence, and so she kind of manipulated my. That's a wrong word. She managed my time in Nigeria more closely, so I didn't get to hang out with my friends like I would have. Um, but I did see him a few times. Hung out with him. It was fun. It was great. I remember one of the times I saw him. I was we went to I took him and my older brother who's late now. I took him and my older brother to some restaurant in I can't even remember the name, but it was a restaurant in GRA. It's just weird that now that I'm thinking about it, the two people that I took to that restaurant and were having a great time, the two of them are late. Anyway, we had a great time, and then I remember one other time I was in Nigeria. My uncle and I went to Akpapava Road to eat somewhere. There's this eatery near there, near Ring Road at Akpapava Road. And so I took Peter along, and so basically that was our thing. That was my thing. Every time I would visit, I would get in touch with him, we'll hang out. It, it was fun. Then we had a moment of falling out, and not gonna go into details of it because it's pointless. Actually, no, I will go into. I would talk a little about it. It mainly had to do with my value system changing. Um, I had become an addict, and it had taken over my life for between 2000 to 2007. I was a hopeless addict, and so 2007 was a culmination of things. And then when I finally got my head together, I guess I was very territorial about my boundaries and who I was aligning with and who I was camaraderie with. So, yes, I did have a very strict regime in how I associate with people. And yes, I kind of labeled Rockstone as, oh, it would be, he would influence me back towards the past. So I kind of raised up my walls and just did. I know it was just that. So anyhow, last year, August, I was doing a social heritage tour because I just completed my PhD, working on my dissertation, and part of my research included doing a social heritage tour, reconnecting the heritage of my youth. And so I did a 14-city tour in Nigeria. And so I had to visit Benin. And there was no way I could be in Benin and not see rocks. There was just no way. I tried. I tried not to, because I was like, oh, and I was in my hotel room and I was like, this makes no freaking sense. And so I didn't have his number. I got online, sent him a message, and then we reconnected, and it was almost like nothing had time had not passed. And he taught me a lesson. That reconnecting with him last year, there was a valuable lesson I learned about friendships. I learned something called loyalty. That when you find somebody who is loyal to you, hold on to that person. Friends will always respect boundaries. Any true friend will respect boundaries. A fake friend will violate your boundaries. And Rockstone was a person that once we reconnected, it just was seamless. He just accepted me as, okay, hey, this is the trajectory you're on. And I accepted in my head, this is the trajectory you're on. It didn't change the fact that even though we were on two different trajectories, we were besties. I don't even understand. But it just was.
Now we wicked person again, no. Just to learn I don't wicked person. I'm like,
You're not serious. You're not serious. You're not serious. I ever said you passed this one before.
Yeah, now you want to call the cost me as if you know that I'm
Bitch, in that video, you won't lie, oh.
Yeah.
Don't lie, oh. We'll talk truth.
But you don't go to the case of it because
God. I'm just hanging out at one of my good friends' place, my childhood
My childhood bastard friend. That's it. That one. That one. That one.
Oh, bro. That's my mean old friend.
Lakewood, Lakeside, 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 Lakeside. So Lakeside is my buddy's business, and Rockstone. It's like my childhood friend, Peter Obadoni, but we called him Rockstone because Peter Rock, so Rockstone, Peter the Rock. No, you Bible reference. So anyhow, he's a twin, and he kind of was my bad boy friend, like my bad boy who happened to be my friend, and so we're very tight. Like every day I hung out with him. Every day I hung out with him. And then I became a born again Christian, and yeah, we probably may not have been as tight as we used to be, but we're still. I knew he was. I knew his heart that he was my friend, and so over the years, so we kept in touch and everything, and one thing I learned with him is loyalty is loyalty. Like if you find somebody who is a friend, it doesn't matter if you become your religion changes, your value system changes. Friends, good friends are hard to find. Good friends that will be loyal to you regardless if your value systems have changed. There's a foundation of friendship that doesn't change, and that's one thing I noticed with Rockstone. So yes, I did go hang out with him, and it was just fun to see my old childhood friend and just reminisce about the good old days. I had such a swell time at Lakeside. Lakeside is his business, and we actually started talking about a business venture together, and we it was a great time. I met his wife. She was heavily pregnant then, and she was very shy. And I was so happy for him that because I always teased him. I'm like, man, when are you gonna have a son? When are you gonna have a child? When are you gonna get married? And um, it was so I was so happy for him that he had his wife and she was heavily pregnant. And I remember when she put to birth and said his son was king, and we prayed, and it was a great it was just so awesome seeing how elated he was for having a son. And
Indian eye. Here goes my big belly big belly man. King Crazy, whoa. How are you? Big belly big belly man. Big belly big belly man. How are you, boy? You good? Say something. Say something there, boy. Yeah, say something. Say something. Yeah, say nothing. What's say something. Big belly man, man, big belly man, man. Hmm? Hmm? Da, 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 da. Oh, ah, da, da, da. Now cheer up, boy. I'll be right back. Hmm? I'll be right back. All right? Hmm? I'll be right.
When we reconnected last year, it just seemed like we were trying to make up for the years that we hadn't stayed in touch. Literally, we video chatted every other day. Sometimes we'll video chat 5 days a week, 6 days a week. There was always something to talk about. He told me everything that was going on in his life. I told him everything going on in my life. We were constantly video chatting. And it was just a breath of fresh air to have to reconnect with my friend from childhood, who from my youth, who I had somehow lost, but now I had found. And yes, we will pray together sometimes. I never tried to push to preach at him because wasn't my I didn't ever try to preach at him, but I did share the gospel, and he I discovered that he was a spiritual person. Forget the weed smoking and all. Beyond all that, he believed. He had a heart for God, and kind of made me reevaluate how we assess people, like, oh, this person smokes weed, so this person doesn't know God. No, he had a belief system, and he believed in Jesus. He actually had a heart for God. And somebody's calling me and messing my video up. But I think where I started seeing his vulnerability was when he got sick, and he was telling me about his sickness. It was it was different. Okay, let me see how to explain this. Rockstone has always been a rude boy. I mean, I always when we're teenagers, I would he will be the person I will call to, like, oh, hey, this person is threatening me. Go handle this person. Go deal with this person. I'll sick him on people. um, so he had always been the strong guy who was always there, and people always dependent on him. So to now see him vulnerable um, was different. I am used to people depending on me. So um, when when I saw his vulnerable part, it was automatic for me to just try and lift him up. And one thing he always was, one criticism he had was nobody around him understood that he was being vulnerable. Like when he would complain about his physical ailment, he said when he would say it, nobody would take him serious. That, oh, they just thought he was joking, or he was just making light of it. And he would complain to me, and I would tell him, like, you know what? people are not used to you being vulnerable. So it's gonna take a minute. You spent all these years building this tough man um, persona. So now that you're vulnerable because of a physical ailment, people are not gonna automatically just embrace it. So you may need to give them time. I guess I didn't realize how much of a physical what physical ailment he was going through. And now in hindsight, I think he may have had some um, depression going on. I'm going to share a text that he shared with me. I'm going to share part of it. I'm not sharing everything. I'm just going to share part of it. And this one was on the day before he died. He texted me. We had a video conversation as always. So we talked, and he was feeling a little down. So I kind of came in, prepped him up. And then after we finished talking, he sent me a text. And the text, he was saying that, oh, I had been some positive energy to him, and maybe he will add me to his medication routine to be his regular positive pep. And I saw the text and I smiled. I was like, "This silly man, I'm always gonna be there for you." And next day he was dead. The next day, Valentine sent me a text message. I saw the text, but I didn't get a chance to read it. I think it was a day later I finally accessed it, and he was saying Rockstone is gone. And I, what do you mean gone? So I called him immediately. Like, what do you mean gone? He said he's gone. In doing this video, I tried to go through our conversations. It was, I'm not ready. I can't really go through because he did share a lot of things that in hindsight maybe I should have taken them more seriously. But again, I was guilty of not really taking his the stuff he was saying. I didn't really take it seriously. And anyway, so give me a minute. If there is one thing that I am grateful for is that did I celebrated him when he was alive. I let him know that I cared for him in the ways that I could. I showed that I cared for him. It wasn't just talk. And I prayed with him. He was in my prayers, and we prayed together a few times. And it just is I wish I had talked more with him on the last conversation I had with him the day before he left. I was going to work, so I was like, I can't really talk too much, and I got busy at work. I didn't call him, and next day he was gone. So, but I celebrate his memory. I celebrate the friendship I had with him, and the valuable lesson that I learned from him is friendship, loyalty in friendship is real. And you don't have to be two Christians to be good friends. Heck, I've seen Christians who have the same value system and they stab each other in the back. So having the same value system doesn't necessarily mean loyalty. I will always remember Rockstone, and fortunately he has an heir left behind that I would have to express, for the sake of his father, I will remember him.
Our life is to go for 180, man. You know who this is? You know who this be? You don't know. This is Kenneth Tamara.